Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Thanks for stopping by today and taking a look at this video. On the turntable, we're taking a look at the Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse Midnighter figure. Now they're labeling this a DC classic. Really, it's from the Authority. I think Authority would have been a better sub kind of theme line to put in, because hopefully we're going to see some more Authority figures. Now the Authority is part of the Jim Lee's Wildstorm Productions. It was a separate comic book company that Jim Lee owned. It's now part of the DC universe. Back in 2011, they amalgamated these two universes. So we've seen Midnighter appear with Nightwing for a bit, Justice League, and Superman and the Authority, which was the comic book that really got me exposed to the Authority, Midnighter, and all those characters. And it's really cool to have this character here in action figure form. Now, I'm not too familiar with him, did a bit of research. He does have a very interesting and cool power set. His name is Lucas Trent. He has enhanced strength, stamina, durability. He can shut off his pain receptors. He's a linguistics expert, marksman, fighter, weapons expert. But he also has neural implants in his brain to act as almost like a combat simulator. So he can predict the outcome of any fight he's going to have, his opponent's next move. Some really cool, really kind of sci-fi out there power set. Really interesting to see that portrayed in a comic book, and I'd love to see this guy against Batman. Don't know if he's been in a fight or something like that, but I'm gonna check out some of the Authority comics in the back issue bins at my comic book store and check out this character. Now, he is paired next to the Batman Dark Detective from Future State. This was the body buck they used to create the Midnighter figure. Now, it's kind of like a 2-for-1 video review we're going to do today, because I haven't really played around with this figure too much. Aesthetically, he looks really cool. It is some really nice improvements on the Midnighter figure. But let's take a look at the packaging first before we dive into these figures. We do have some really nice artwork here by Brian Hitch from the Authority. And this is a gold label exclusive. So here in Canada, I picked this up at GameStop back in December, and man, I haven't seen it on shelves since then when I picked it up. Hopefully it's still on the website. If you want this figure and you live in Canada, it might be your only shot at getting it after the secondary market. You do have some artwork on the trading card from the back, a display stand as well. And this figure does include 2 fisted hands as well. For a brawler like Midnighter, 2 fisted hands, definitely appreciated. Now the figure's accessories. You do get these 2 batons, Billy beat up sticks. Man, I just don't like them. I'm not a big fan of them. They just don't do it for me, so to speak. There's no paint apps. It's just molded plastic. And it kind of reminded me of a bug zapper. On a hot summer's night, on your porch, you get bzz, bug zapper. That's what it kind of reminds me of, and I just don't see anything else. Unfortunately, this figure does have a few flaws. Really, really loose wrists, unfortunately. Now, these batons are not heavy at all. They're very light. They're not super hollow or anything, but man, the wrist joints just can't support the weight on these things, so it's kind of disappointing that they're so loose, but it is an easy fix. And if you want to swap out these weapons, which I probably would if I'm going to display this figure, give them something better than that. Now, aesthetically, like I said, this is a really nice retooling of that Dark Detective Batman. The head sculpt is just phenomenal. I really like the way it's sculpted, all the wrinkles of the fabric, the seam lines. And essentially, it almost feels like a Robert Pattinson Batman head sculpt without the bat ears. And if you wanted to customize this into a Kingdom Come Red Robin, which I think is a really hotly requested figure, especially on my list, I would definitely want to see this figure. If you're going to customize it, this would be the perfect head sculpt to use for it. Because basically, he has a costume that looks like Robin with a bit more accessories, but a Batman cowl without the ears. So, looking at the figure, he does stylize really nice. He does have some great aesthetics. One thing I really like about this figure, his trench coat is not as rigid as the original. The original is just so rigid, you can barely move it around. But here you can take a look at all the stylized detail he has on the body armor, his belt, his pouches. Really nicely done from the original sculpt. Of course, it is lacking some paint, but it does suit the character. I mean, you could add a bit of maybe some gray or silver to the buckle here. I might do that. You never know. But it looks really good. I really like the way it looks. Really nice stylized detail. He does have the Midnighter logo on his chest, so I appreciate that. And with comparison it to the artwork on the back of the box, it's kind of true to the character. I mean, you've seen some artwork where the artwork doesn't look anything like the figure you're getting, so I kind of appreciate, you know what, that's what Midnighter looks like. The logo's there, the costume looks really nice, and I appreciate that little fine detail there. Now, let's talk about some of the articulation on this figure. It does have some side attitude in the neck. Can look up pretty good. Down, not too bad. His shoulders are inhibited by this extra rigid piece that comes off the shoulders, some of the armor there. So your shoulder joint is limited for articulation, but it does have the spacer joint. It does have the bicep cut, double jointed ratcheted elbows, unfortunately very loose wrists with our ball joint. For ab articulation, he doesn't have a lot of movement back or forward. It's pretty stiff as well. Ball joint at the hips, double joint ratcheted knees, full toe articulation, pivot rocker joint, and his ball joint is really hidden by this guard here as well. It looks really nice. I mean, with a bit of dry brushing on this, that would look pretty darn cool. So overall, this is a really nice figure. I do appreciate this is a retooling, but man, they went a bit extra, especially on the arms. Now, that Batman, holy crap, did it have ugly looking joints in the arms for a flesh tone, you know what I mean? And I'll show that in a sec, but I like the way they just redid this and repainted it. The gauntlets here look really cool with these straps, and it just seamlessly blends into the trench coat. Really nicely done. Really appreciate that extra work. Now let's take a look at this guy, what it's based off on. Now, one of the things that I really like about this figure is that unique head sculpt. I don't think we're ever gonna see a Batman figure with ears exposed. I mean, it's a cool look. Would have been so awesome if he had an extra head sculpt where this was maybe even removable. That would have been fantastic, but you know, probably not gonna happen ever again. I doubt we'll ever see another version of this figure. There is a gold label version where he doesn't have the coat and he has exposed arms. That's a really nice version. Maybe we'll see a repaint or go another, maybe in a 2-pack with Apollo, we'll see that version of Midnighter. I think it would be pretty cool. But this one is, you know, pretty nice. It does have that real kind of grimacy look with its teeth gritting. I do like this chest armor here. The chest armor is really placed nicely with the kind of segmented areas. The Bat logo looks like it's just painted on. It looks great. It's not a cape, but this coat, which kind of resembles a cape, the way it's kind of sprawled out here as well. It looks really nice, but it is stiff. So you can't really move it around as much as that Midnighter one, but you can see the nice attention to detail on the belt, the buckle, and these little accessories that are painted in gold. Really appreciate that. The armor as well looks great. Like I said on the other figure, Midnighter there, I would like to see some dry brushing. There's a little bit here, sort of, not much. And the coat itself does have a bit of a wash texture to it. It looks beautiful in this brown color. It just brings out all the sculpted details. And this is a really nice figure. Now, I was talking about those elbows. I don't know, there's something about these elbows here in the joint that just don't look nice. I don't know. The flesh tone is really tough to do. And then you got this white piece sticking out here. It just, I don't know, it looks more seamless on the Midnighter figure. But I do appreciate how this is how Batman looked in the comic. So there you go. Now this one, exact same articulation, nothing new there. This one, for some reason, does seem almost a little bit softer in the shoulder. I don't know why. That one's a little more rigid, but you still don't have much articulation going on there. And same with the torso, next to nothing going on, but you can't twist it. And once you do, you segmented lines here in the battle armor that's kind of misaligned, so you got to put that back into shape. But overall, this is a cool looking Batman. You can get in some cool poses. I think this figure would be better suited with an extended neck peg just to get a better range of motion, because it's just, it doesn't have much. Doesn't have that much to go back, and I think it just needs to be extended a little higher up. It needs to sit a little higher on the neck just to give it better proportions and not look so stubby. But overall, this is a damn cool figure, and I'm really glad that they took this figure, retooled it into Midnighter, and like I said, this is a figure that I'm not familiar with whatsoever, but after getting this figure in hand, playing around with it and doing a little background research, I'm kind of impressed, and I would definitely like to take a look at the Authority comic books, check them out in my back issue bin at my comic book store and see what's going on. But yeah, it's a 2-for-1 here, guys. I think if you're looking for a cool action figure that can be something different, you know, if you want to put him in your Batman Rogues Gallery, he could be a villain or an ally, Or if you kind of want to start a Justice League, swap out Batman and put this guy in. It'd be an interesting choice. But I want to see some other figures and how he compares with. For the bigger figure here in stature, we got Lobo. Looks really good. See these two guys together. And then another figure who is really one of my favorites from that Injustice 2 or Injustice lineup. And we got Green Arrow here. We got the one without the hat. I got the one with the hat as well. I haven't opened that because I like this one so much better. But yeah, these two guys would look really cool as part of a team. Yeah, also gotta have this guy in there. Check him out against the Batman, the Jim Lee Hush version in blue. These two look pretty cool together. See these guys throwing down. That'd be pretty cool to see that happen. And then a character that, you know, I just love. And I love this figure. See him with the Joker. Oops. See him with the Joker here. Those two look pretty cool together as well. And then the latest kind of custom head swap we just did here. And that is the Injustice 2 Superman. We gave this guy the angry head sculpt from the Jim Lee Hush version. The infected Poison Ivy one. He looks really cool with this guy. Man, you can see these two guys going toe-to-toe or being part of Superman's new Justice League. It'd be very cool to see that. Yeah, so this is all the cool stuff you can do with your figures. If you got a bunch of figures, make your own stories, do whatever you want. And then another figure I want to put them up with here is the customized Fury of the Gods Shazam. Yeah, it's just being interesting. I think I'm going to do a short of a Justice League. Maybe with Midnighter and some other characters you wouldn't expect to be in the Justice League, but maybe a Multiverse Justice League. I don't know. It'd be cool to see, and I'm definitely going to try that out. But yeah, very cool figure. I'm very happy to add this figure into the collection. Coming from a figure that I absolutely had no idea who really his background was. I knew, hey, I've seen him around, but I've never seen him in comic book form. I never picked up a comic really with him in it until that Superman Authority one. But I'm really glad I got this figure and added to the collection. So there you go, guys. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the feedback and comments all the time. Keep them coming. More videos are coming soon. And if you want to check out more of my videos, I got a massive DC playlist with tons of videos on there as well. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.